Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As president of Riverside Military Academy, we welcome you to the 7th annual Sandy Beaver Entrepreneurial Leadership Awards Dinner, Sabella. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening to honor an extraordinary entrepreneurial leader, Mrs. Carol Burrell, for her impact on our community, the Northeast Georgia region, and as we also remember previous honorees and a special advisory member whom we lost to the pandemic this year. On behalf of the entire military academy community, I extend a special welcome to our honoree, Mrs. Carol Burrell and her husband Steve, their son and his wife, Lee and Eileen Burrell, their daughter and her husband, Brady and Drew Edewall, and Carol and Steve's dear friends, Billy and Doris Fuqua. We have previous honorees with us this evening, including our 2019 honorees, Drew Eccles and Madge Birch, whose husband Ray Birch was recognized posthumously. With Drew and Madge and their family members, as well as all previous honorees, please stand and be recognized for your ongoing support of this academy. I'd also like to acknowledge the families of deceased previous honorees, Jack Frost and Jim Walters, whose families are with us tonight. And please, we'd like to remember their loved ones, as well as the family of the Sabella committee member, Jackie Cooley. Would you please, those family members, please stand and accept our warmest regards in honor of their passing. Seated with our guest of honor at the head table, we also recognize Georgia's 82nd Governor, Nathan Deal, and First Lady Sandra Deal. There are several elected officials with us tonight. With those individuals currently holding elected office, either now or in the past, please stand to accept our thanks for your service to our community. Elected officials, please. And then finally, I'd like to recognize the members of the Riverside Board of Trustees, both past and present, as well as any Riverside alumni who are present tonight, to please stand and be recognized and accept our welcome. Trustees. The fact that you have made time in your busy lives to be with us tonight, all of you, is a testimony to your commitment to this historic academy, and we thank you. At this time, to honor our nation, please stand and remain standing if you are able for the presentation of colors led by Cadet Newkirk, the Pledge of Allegiance led by Cadet Private Morris Corporal, and invocation by Cadet Major Christian Jones. And I'd just like to make note, Christian Jones is our Scout Company Commander, which is our middle school, and he's a recent recipient of a 4-year Naval ROTC full scholarship as he pursues his goal to serve as a Marine Corps officer. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the colors. Colors!
Word! Arms!
Sit. Arms. Forward. Arms. Left turn. Arch.
Forward! Arch! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could bow your heads and please join me in the invocation. Dear Lord, thank you for the celebration that we are here for tonight and for all of the people in attendance. Let us remember to slow down and to remember these moments in life that are so meaningful and to enjoy those around us. Thank you for this meal and bless it to our use. Bless those who helped prepare it and to all those who made this evening possible. Lord, thank you for this life and these people we share it with and for this time. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. On a personal note, I'm compelled to note that we're here tonight at a gala event while current geopolitical and military affairs are, to say the least, both concerning and disturbing. The world continues to face a global pandemic, economic and logistical challenges, and unrest. All this while we gather here tonight in celebration. U.S. military forces have already left our home soil to join our NATO partners in defense of freedom around the world. Further, just hours ago, this institution was informed that one of our current high school cadets tragically lost his life today while on a vacation at home. We were notified just a few hours ago, and the Corps has been informed. But however, in times as challenging as these, I believe it is critical that we, in fact, take a time out for celebrations such as this, because it's critical to honor those special individuals who selflessly, professionally, and expertly rise to the challenges and lead organizations and communities successfully through trying times and into a brighter future. And so tonight, despite the world's uncertain state of affairs, we gather to recognize and honor such leaders, past, present, from our community. As we're about to enjoy dinner, I want to point out to you this evening's takeaway items at your tables. Manners for the Riverside Man, which some of you maybe are my age and forgotten, please review. It encapsulates what we teach Riverside cadets to do and to become. Please take home a copy with you and share it with any man of any age who you think needs some reminders. Also take home our President's Report to read about our 5-year strategic plan and the accomplishments that have occurred here in the last couple of years. And one last thing, should you need another drink or glass of wine, the bars will remain open on the sides, wine in the back during the dinner. And note the location, the coffee station you can have during dinner or as you're enjoying dessert, there's a single coffee station in the back. Please join me now in dinner. Bon appetit. Welcome back. I now ask that you direct your attention to the front, your front right, as the Riverside Academy ROTC Armed Drill Team under the direction of Sergeant First Class Mark Phillips and led by Cadet Anthony Piedmont perform a short demonstration for your enjoyment. No flash photography, please, during the performance. please allow me to ask the Aramark dining team, the chefs, the kitchen staff, and all the servers to please step forward and be recognized for their hard work in providing your dinner that you enjoy. Tremendous amount of work, and by the way, you're all eating where the cadets are eating in their rooms tonight because you're all out here at their table. And I think the battalion commander will attest this is what service is like every night for the cadets here, right? Just as you've noted on the screens, I noticed on the screens and in your program, there are many who have helped ensure the success of tonight's event, an event that we've had to postpone due to COVID over the past years. The advisory committee and our generous sponsors, especially our premier sponsors, Electronic Sales Company, Fenari Realty, Paul and Glenna Maney, Willis Investment Council, and Radial Ventures. Our most sincere appreciation to all of you, as well as our listed presenting and table sponsors. Because of your generosity, dozens more families will now be able to receive need-based scholarships which allow their sons to attend and to gain the Riverside Advantage. And I hope you've seen some of that advantage in your interactions with some of our cadets tonight. Please note that tonight represents a record number of sponsors this year, attesting to the selfless nature of our donors, as well as respect for our honoree tonight. I'd like to introduce and invite Brigadier General Retired Dr. Dan Kaufman, the current governing chairman of the Riverside Board, to share a few words. In recent years, Riverside has been truly blessed to have selfless leaders such as Ken McKelvey, recently deceased Rusty Griffin, and Gainesville's own Brian Daniel, and now Dr. Kaufman, who volunteered to take leadership roles at our academy as they clearly see the value added arising from the attendance here as a cadet. They, along with other trustees, alumni, and friends of Riverside, provide their time, talent, and treasure for the advancement of Riverside. Dr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Scott. Governor, Mrs. Deal, members of the Burrell family, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight for this truly important ceremony to honor an extraordinary public servant. So thank you for coming. As you may have, those one or two of you who were looking at the screens during dinner know, our host tonight, of course, is the RMA Foundation. Now, RMA has only been in the private fundraising business for a little while, but even in our short tenure, the RMA Foundation has donated over $1.1 million to the Academy's mission through proceeds and contributions. Primarily, through scholarship support. Let me give you an example. In the current academic year, the RMA Foundation has donated $250,000, $250,000 to Riverside. And we use that money, Stash and his team use that money for scholarship support. What that means is tuition support. So a family who really wants to send a son to Riverside, and we really want that young man, might not be able to fit the entire tuition bill. And so a modest amount of money, anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, goes into scholarship support. And so one, most important, we get that young man, that quality young man, and also we get all the rest of the tuition, right? So from that $250,000 donation, we got 53 cadets here at Riverside this year. So the return on that investment is truly extraordinary. So for all of you who have donated to the RMA Foundation, thank you. Please continue to do so. For those of you who might not know about RMA, I hope you will consider making it part of your charitable contributions so that we can continue to attract the young men, the extraordinary young men, and provide them with this life-changing opportunity that we go forward. So thank you all for coming tonight. You make a difference for the quality of the program that we are privileged to present to our young men, to the challenges, prepare them for the challenges that they're going to confront, and so that Riverside can continue to produce leaders of character for our communities, for our states, and for all of the nations that our cadets represent. Thank you all. Staj?
treat, please allow me to introduce Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Hamilton. He's our class of 2022 battalion commander, and he commands the entire corps of 300 cadets here. I was asked at dinner by one of our guests, how often do we meet? And I said, if I have to meet with him frequently, then he's not the right guy. Well, I get to meet with him about once every 2 weeks, and we could probably go once every 2 months. He's running the Corps, he's responsible for the Corps. I don't have to worry about the Corps with Lieutenant Colonel Hamilton here. So I'm pleased that he's going to give us a talk. While Cadet Hamilton remains exceptionally humble, our collective pride in him is unsurpassed. Beyond being the top cadet and student, he has been accepted early decision to Mercer University, Clemson, Georgia Tech, keep going. But most importantly, he's also received his nomination to the United States Air Force Academy, where he hopes to serve as an Air Force officer. Battalion Commander, the floor is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I give my remarks, I'd just like to point out a quick fact about what General Kaufman just told you all, about how you all have supported many cadets, such as myself, in coming here and attending Riverside Military Academy. Because I know that it was a great struggle for my mother and father to, of course, support Riverside, but they knew it was the right place for me. And thanks to you all, I'm able to attend here tonight. And also, through a mother's very watching eye as well, I can attend this year on a full ride. So thank you. Now for my remarks. Whenever someone asks about my overall experience at Riverside, I usually start with, half a decade at a place really changed you. I have been a cadet at Riverside Military Academy for 5 years now, starting in the 8th grade. Throughout these years, I've experienced various cultures, the inner workings of organizations and corporations, peer-to-peer leadership, self-reliance, and many facets of adulthood. Other schools truly don't hold a candle to the excellence and experience in education that is received here at this institution. On one occasion, I interact directly with other students from other schools, both public and private. I know I'm more comfortable and better prepared in those interactions that require planning, public speaking, and team activities. I came home from my local middle school one late afternoon when my mother first mentioned Riverside to me. My family has a long history of military service. My mother and father, both in the Air Force. My grandfather served in the Vietnam War, and my uncle, a high-ranking seaman in the Navy. Service has always been an aspiration of mine, and before RMA, I was in Civil Air Patrol for approximately 2 years. I'm ashamed to admit it sometimes, but I also been an avid member of my local makerspace, which is a place where cool nerds can geek out and also make some cool tech. At that moment, I had two options: stay in a familiar environment, or leave what I had built behind in search of greener pastures. And it's pretty obvious which one I picked. Though hesitant to change, I knew that I needed to excel in education and social interaction. My mother thought it best to put my brother and me in all-line public school. While my grades have always been above average, I felt irrelevant to my teachers and wasn't making any friends. That's where Riverside stands out. My teachers have always cared about me as a person, and though my brothers in blue welcomed me with more than open arms, it taught me how to lead, how to stand out as a person and conquer challenges. Leadership development is another place in which Riverside excels. It's a hallmark of its 100+ years of existence. As you can tell from my overly decorated uniform, I've embraced many lessons in leadership here at the Academy. I began my journey as a follower, slowly learning how to take care of myself, and a squad leader, directly responsible for teaching 6 cadets how to take care of themselves. And now 5 years later, the battalion commander, directly responsible for all cadets within the Corps. Throughout that time, I've seen many great leaders rise, and many who I thought great fall from grace as each student is held accountable for their actions. Cadets usually spend a copious amount of time in leadership development, and often take for granted the small details that go into being a member of the chain of command. However, we never forget our humble beginnings, the key moments that define us, and the ultimate outcome of our journey. In my studies here on campus, I learned that failure is not final. When a cadet breaks a rule and gets caught, forced to leave the duty, it hurts, and it's embarrassing. I know it was for me. However, I knew that it wasn't the end of the road either. Cadets are given numerous opportunities to challenge themselves and become better from their mistakes. They aren't thrown into a room for a few days and expected to be changed men afterward. In the words of Loneliness, Change isn't instantaneous. It takes time, sometimes years to come to fruition. So don't try to alter culture, as with enough time, culture will alter itself. Riverside Military Academy has provided me with an opportunity that many young men my age aren't offered. I became a straight A student in a rigorous academic environment, a national champion in the 2021 Raider Nationals, and the person solely responsible for 300 young men. The Academy has instilled in me qualities and skills of professionalism, maturity, and academic accountability. I've also been early accepted to the Georgia Institute of Technology for a computer science degree, and received a congressional nomination to the U.S. Air Force Academy. The only thing that Riverside has failed to get me is a girlfriend. Affording Riverside was an initial problem for my family, but when my parents found multiple financial aid scholarships, they could rest assured that I was at the right place. This tremendous opportunity was made possible through your generous donations and contributions. Your selfless support of events like this one tonight, as well as your generous donations to our needs-based scholarship program, demonstrate your investment and trust in cadets like me. We cadets sacrifice a traditional and often fun high school experience in order to quickly develop into self-directed leaders of character who are prepared to be contributing global citizens. Thank you for allowing me to be successful in academics, athletics, and leadership. Riverside turned me from the boy that I once was into the man that I am now. And I hope that the Academy can continue to do the same for young men like me well into the future. May God bless you all and our servicemen and women around the world. Thank you.
Give me a moment. Where's your mom? Your mom is here. Mom, thank you, Mom. I've been associated with Riverside for many years now, and I can attest that Colonel Hamilton is a quintessential representation of what we try to accomplish here at Riverside. Young leaders such as this young man allow me to sleep comfortably at night, knowing that our future, as we retire, as the elderly, as we retire, that America's going to be in good hands. It's going to be in good hands. So thank you for supporting us in that fashion. On with our program. There's no doubt that the global pandemic has had an impact on all of us. And 2021 was an unusually difficult year with the loss of so many who have done so much for this community. 3 of those individuals were honored by this very event in previous years. Frank Norton Sr., Jim Walters, Big Jim, and Jack Frost. In addition, Jackie Allred Cooley served on the advisory committee for this event since the inception of the awards dinner 7 years ago in 2014. So let us share a memorial tribute to honor and recognize them. I direct you to the screens. Your impact on this community in support of RMA will not soon be forgotten. So in remembrance of these leaders and Cadet Alexander Postel, who lost his life today, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Tonight, we honor and celebrate an entrepreneurial leader whose vision, passion, determination, personal values, and character emulate the legendary qualities of the award's namesake, General Sandy Beaver, who served this community and as Riverside's president for over 50 years. This time, I'd ask to invite R.K. Whitehead to the podium. He's the immediate past chair of the Northeast Georgia Health System Board of Trustees as he introduces our honoree.
Thanks, Todd. It's my privilege to introduce tonight's honoree, Carol Burrell. Oh, I think we will all agree that Carol is a woman who needs no introduction. I had the honor of serving as the chair of our health system over the past 5 years, and in that role, I had the opportunity to work with and watch Carol as she led our hospital through a period of both great struggle and tremendous growth. The video we will see here in just a moment does a far better job than I could of outlining all she has done during her tenure as president and CEO of Northeast Georgia Health System. But I do want to take just a moment to comment on her qualities as a leader. The Sandy Beaver Entrepreneurial Leadership Award recognizes an extraordinary leader whose vision, passion, determination, personal values, and character emulate the legendary qualities of General Beaver. It is fair to say that Carol demonstrates all of these qualities at a level we might all aspire to. Vision. She has seen the future and how our health system must grow to continue to provide world-class health care to not only our local community, but the entire Northeast Georgia region. It's clearly evidenced by the significant capital investment plan the system is undertaking, and she had put in place the leadership team that will be sure to get us through. Passion. She loves her job, and like all of us, I'm sure, some days more than others. But her passion for what she does comes through any time that you talk to her about our hospital or healthcare. Without this driving passion, she wouldn't get up every day to go to a job that is really, really difficult in its span and responsibility, overseeing almost 10,000 employees and $2 billion worth of net revenue. Determination. When it would have been easy to let this pandemic dictate actions and overwhelm our hospital, Carol continued to not only shepherd us through this trying time, but she kept her eye on the vision and made sure that our hospital system didn't get stuck in a woe is me mindset. And finally, personal values and character. And of all the qualities I've cited, I think these say the most about who Carol Burrell is. You can have vision and passion and determination, but if you're lacking in values and character, people will not follow you. And if you know Carol, she's caring and forthright and honest and humble. Her team will follow her wherever she leads, and that is a testament to her and her character. Carol's been recognized by many organizations for her leadership qualities, as evidenced recently by being named by Georgia Trend magazine as one of Georgia's top 100 most influential Georgians. Many recognize what I expect we all know personally. But as a final comment on her true nature, I'll take you back a few weeks ago to the Rotary Man and Woman of the Year banquet, and I'm sure many of you were there, and you witnessed the most remarkable occurrence. As you know, she was presented with the Woman of the Year award, which was well-earned and well-deserved. But the amazing thing is how she reacted. When she came up to accept, I saw a side of her I had never seen before. The recognition was so unexpected that she was well and truly speechless. To me, that brief view of her true humility says more about her character and the human being that she is than any speech or long list of her accomplishments ever could. Carol Burrell, a truly deserving recipient of this year's Sandy Beaver Entrepreneurial Leadership Award. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Carol is an extraordinary woman. She wears so many hats and wears them all well. She is a mother, she's a wife, she's a grandmother, she is a leader, she's a mentor, a friend, and she's CEO of Northeast Georgia Health System.
Well, I know that Carol was raised in the Winder area. I think she refers to it as a suburb of Winder at Carl, which is maybe 700 people live there, I'm not sure. And that's where she and Steve, they went to high school together and they were both athletic.
Everybody knows her mantra, better tomorrow than today. For Carol, it's never about her alone, it's about team. And I'm sure as a basketball player, that's what she focused on, was the team.
I remember very vividly when I met Carol. It was 1999 when John Ferguson hired Carol to come in and look at our primary care network. It was kind of in the beginning stages, and we needed to work out the bumps in that, and we hired Carol. She was in Jacksonville at the time, and I remember her coming in and did a phenomenal job.
Carol is very family-oriented, and I believe that grounding has made her the woman that she is today. She's surrounded herself in her career with talented people, and Carol's quick to point out that she's really a product of the people who are around her.
Well, I feel like I'm in a very unique position in my relationship with Carol. She was a peer before she was my boss. Carol is approachable. Really, I mean, any employee would feel comfortable talking to her, reaching out to her. So, I mean, that's a hallmark of her leadership. It's stayed with her all these many years. Really didn't matter what position she was in the organization.
When Carol joined the hospital in 1999, we had one hospital. We had about 3,000 employees, and our gross revenues were about $340 million. During the years that Carol's been in leadership positions, my goodness, the health system has grown. We have 4 hospitals. We employ over 9,000 people, and our gross revenues are $3.4 billion.
We just undertook the largest 5-year spending plan in the history of our hospital, and that takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of know-how to get this ball moving forward, and I have every confidence she'll do it. I think that Carol certainly displays the entrepreneurial spirit that is what makes Northeast Georgia what it is. Not to mention the fact that she runs the biggest business probably in Northeast Georgia. It's a tremendous undertaking that she gets up every morning and runs into.
I admire most about Carol the fact that she can lead equally with her head and her heart. She's always true to her values.
When Carol took her current position, the very first thing that she did is that she really kind of put a pause on some things and said, you know, the organization's strong, its mission is mission-driven, but I want to make sure that all our employees really understand the core values of the organization.
In the early days when the hospital in Brazelton had just opened, I was there for a meeting, and a worker in the cafeteria area came up to me to ask if I needed directions. And I told him that I thought I knew where I was going, and he said, well, don't miss these core values that we have spelled out along this wall. He said, you know, they're more than words. It's what we do every day. Passion for excellence. I bring my best every single day. Responsible stewardship. What I do today really determines tomorrow or ensures the future. A deep interdependence. I can't do my job without you. And respectful compassion. I impact life's most sacred moments. Carol lives and breathes those values in everything that she does.
Now, some of the big things she's done, Epic, our medical records, that was a tough decision. We changed from one and went into Epic, and it was a tough decision to make, but that is saving lives on a daily basis today.
To me, one of her greatest leadership moments was when we implemented an electronic health record. And as it turned out, it was not the best approach or selection, even though we had taken thoughtful time to do it. And what she did within a very short amount of time after things were assessed, I mean, she called the question. And this was actually very early in her tenure as president of the organization. And to be able to do that and just say, you know, I'm making a decision, you know, that is not only going to be in the immediate future we make this change to a different electronic health record. I mean, she really was paving the way for whoever follows. You know, those are the toughest decisions because you can make an easy decision and make yourself look good, but the person that follows you then has to pick that up, and she won't do that.
The buildings that we're building now and the equipment that we're putting in those buildings and the personnel that we're getting is just phenomenal, and that will have a great impact on the health of all of Northeast Georgia. I would put our healthcare system up against anybody's. One of the biggest challenges Carol had was our cardiac situation when we had some doctors leave. Well, Carol didn't panic. She put her nose to the grindstone and got down to brass tacks, and we're better today in our cardiac care than we were 3 years ago. There's no doubt about that. I think that's proven.
So one of the things I suspect that Carol would be proud of in terms of just thinking about during her tenure, things that were created, the graduate medical education program is a legacy. I mean, it absolutely is. It's, you know, it's coming out of the ground right now, literally. But the whole vision is that these will be the physicians of the future in our community. And you know, to know that you planted those seeds, that's how our community will gain access to high quality physicians. You know, the other thing that I know that she would think about with graduate medical education is we really waited to do that until we thought the organization in terms of this whole idea of continuous improvement and teaching that and learning that in this environment so our physicians are part of that culture. That was really important to her, and she made a very specific decision not to turn it on until we thought that we were ready to provide that environment.
Managing the health system through a pandemic created unimaginable challenges. It affected every department in the hospital, and literally every single person had to pivot.
We were just run over with patients, and it was a life and death situation on a daily basis. But Carol and her team were in the hallways, they were working with the nurses, they were working with the patients. They didn't back down, they didn't hide in their offices. Carol's out there with the patients because she truly cared about what the outcome was of these patients, but she was equally concerned about how her nurses and medical staff were being treated and how they could handle the stress that was put on them. And we did everything, Carol did everything in her power to help relieve that stress. But she was visible, and that, to me, that was the most important things that she did.
You know, I don't think we could have prepared mentally for that. As the leader, her role, I can't imagine, you know, the load that she felt. She was able to really bring the experts to the table. We're going to rely on the experts, we're going to organize, and we're going to do what we need to do for our community.
Code Believe, another COVID-19 patient is well enough to go home.
As hard as that was, and you know, is this ever going to end? And you know, can we do all that's been expected? Strategically, it would be easy just to say, okay, this is what we have to focus on. This is all we're going to focus on. We're going to get this done, and it was of that magnitude. But at the same time, she really looked out. But the organization is as vibrant as it's ever been. You know, projects were started, major initiatives were started. The organization was resilient And I think also because even while we were going through it, we were looking to the future.
Leading an organization of our size in this challenging environment of healthcare requires lots of tough decisions. Many of those are not popular, and none of those are easy. And yet Carol leads us through these rough waters with an open perspective and sound judgment to always do the right thing for our patients and for our health system and for the community that she serves.
Academy Sergeant Major Forty Sosa, join me for a moment. On a personal note, leading an organization during a pandemic is hard enough for any CEO. Leading a hospital system during an unprecedented, worldwide, and seemingly unending pandemic is exponentially more difficult. Some say even impossible. Carol has made the impossible possible, guided us through this difficult challenge. I can tell you our school remained open because of the support, the guidance, and the information and briefings that we took from your staff and the assistance you provided us that allowed our kids to remain in classrooms safe and healthy while the rest of the world was doing online learning. You've given an advantage to our cadets, frankly, that others didn't have. Just last week, I was blessed to see her selection as Woman of the Year, and frankly, there's not enough awards to recognize her lifelong and ongoing contributions to our community. On behalf of the Riverside Military Academy trustees, the faculty, the staff, alumni, and cadets, I'm honored to present the Sandy Beaver Entrepreneurial Leadership Award to Ms. Carol Elan Burrell, and I ask her to join me on this stage. Before I turn the podium over, I'm going to extrapolate from Sally Field's Academy Award speech from several years ago and say, Carol, we like you, we really like you.
Okay. As if the remarks aren't enough, the COVID video gets me every time right here. This really is quite humbling. RK, your remarks, Philip, Mary Lynn, Tracy's, those reflections are very special. I do have to say, though, that as I was watching those and listening to it, I was really thankful that you didn't talk to any of my family, because there would have been other stories that might not have been so compelling. In fact, Stosh, I was wondering, could we maybe bottle up some of this tonight? I could take it in a bottle and use some fairy dust in the Burrell home when I need to. As a young girl, yes, from Carl, Georgia, coming to Gainesville, shopping at Shirley's was a big deal. My father's family was from the Gainesville-Hall County area, and my husband, Steve, played basketball at Gainesville Junior College. So, 24 years ago, we had the opportunity to consider relocating to home, back to the area that had always been so special to us. Little did we know that the impact that decision would have on our family. I certainly had no idea that I would one day be leading Northeast Georgia Health System and being an active member of this vibrant and growing community that is so special to all of us. To add on top of that, I now have both of my adult children and their spouses living here in this wonderful community, thriving and giving back. And of course, there's Pierce that's going to enjoy this in the future as well. There's so many, and as I look over this crowd, so many of you have guided and supported me through this journey. I appreciate that more than you can possibly know. In fact, it's a blessing to me, especially over these last couple of years. But as much as I appreciate and value this honor, it's not about me. We have an NGHS team, and when I say that, I mean this entire medical community and all of the leadership positions that many of you serve on. That's what makes the difference, and that's what this recognition is for. Many of them are actually caring for patients of our community right now, back in our facilities. So I accept this on behalf of all of those that are making a difference, that have demonstrated such resilience, perseverance, and strength, especially over these last 2 years. They come in every day, they put one foot in front of the other, and they continue to make sure that we fulfill our mission of improving the health of our community in all that we do. This is a special place, as all of you know, in this room, and I'm honored and privileged to be a part of it and to make a difference, a very small difference in this community, and to stand on the foundation of those that came before me that made all of this happen. Thank you again for this honor. I'm deeply touched.
Reception prior to the dinner to meet the family, and they are gracious and wonderful, and I just can't imagine how proud you must be and honored you must be to be part of the family as well. So thank you for joining us and being here tonight. And for those of you who it's your first time on the campus, welcome to our campus. We're proud to have you here. I wish I could get to meet all of you. I'll stay around for any of you who I didn't get an opportunity to meet. Carol, I know will be here for a bit, and Governor and Mrs. Deal, thank you for honoring us with your presence as well this evening. That concludes our program. I ask that our honoree and her family, her entire family, remain for some photos. And as you depart, on your table are flowers and 3 sets on this table as well. We ask you to please take the centerpiece home with the couple that has been married the longest at your table. Yeah, the couple that married longest at your table, please take it. We debated whether or not we would do this by oldest at the table. We thought that might be a little this evening takes a lot of this evening takes months and months of planning, and I really do want to thank Ellen for the advancing staff and staff here putting this together. We're grateful for your attendance. Looking forward to seeing you at our next Sabella event, which we will now put on back into a regular cycle in August. We wish you a wonderful evening. Please enjoy some coffee, finish your desserts, and thank you for coming to Riverside Military Academy, supporting us, and more importantly, supporting our future cadets. Thank you.